Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alyssa. This is Alyssa Makes Everything, a cozy hobby channel where I basically just do a lot of crafts and cozy hobbies. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you so much for watching. I wanted my next video to be crochet related. It's such a huge hobby of mine and I'm trying to convert as many people to the hobby as possible. So I figured I would start out with a list of patterns for you. That way, if you're new to crochet, you have some inspiration for some projects to do. You guys will see that I primarily like to make amigurumi, which is a certain style of crochet where you're making like little plushies. So sometimes it's animals, sometimes it's food. I basically just love making amigurumi. It's so much fun. All the projects work up really quickly. It's so much more satisfying to me than sitting down and working on a blanket for weeks at a time. I just don't have the attention span for that. I wish I did. I currently don't have any wearables that I've made myself, so that's a goal someday. But for now, I really just love making amigurumi. So that's primarily what's going to be on this list. But I wanted to give you guys 10 fall patterns and 10 winter/Christmas patterns. And all of these are free patterns. I primarily do use paid patterns. I just feel like they're usually a little bit better. A lot of the really popular patterns out there are paid patterns, and it makes sense. Obviously, the creators of these patterns deserve to get compensated for their work. It takes a lot to create crochet patterns. If any of you guys crochet, you know that a lot goes into crochet patterns. So obviously the creators of those patterns deserve to get compensated. So I do want to make another video in the future about all of my favorite patterns, most of which are paid. But this, I just wanted to get you guys started with a list of free patterns. That way, if you're new to crochet, you can go into the hobby not spending a ton of money and still have a lot of fun and make something really cute. Also, stick around to the end of this video if you want to go to Joann's with me. I just found out that there are new colors of Big Twist Posh yarn that came out, and I think my local Joann's has them in stock. So I want to take you guys along with me to check out those new colors. And let's be honest, probably take some home. So stick around if you want to watch that part. All right, so we're gonna get started. I have my iPad here with all of the patterns on it. Speaking of which, a Google Doc will be linked down below where you can find all these patterns. Most of them are on Instagram. So if you don't have Instagram, I would highly recommend making a free account. If it's just purely for crochet, I think it's worth it because there are so many free patterns on Instagram. So that's a really good place to find them. There are some on here that are not on Instagram. They're just on the internet, but everything will be linked down below. And I also will share the patterns over on my crochet Instagram, which is Alyssa Makes Amigurumi. And so you'll be able to just click on the patterns through my highlight on that Instagram page that is titled the same thing as the title of this video. Okay, so the first pattern is this little sheet ghost from the Looped Crafts. There are so many ghost patterns for free on Instagram, on the internet, that you guys can use. I've made a couple of them, but I've never seen one that looks like a sheet ghost, like truly has the sheet look to its body. So when I found this pattern, I was really excited to share it with you guys because it is just a little more unique. And I've started making this one myself. I haven't finished it. I will be totally honest. I'm making a bunch of different hanging ghosts for some of my coworkers and my friends, just for them to enjoy this Halloween season. So I've been trying to crank those out to get them out to those people as soon as possible. So I haven't finished this ghost, but I am excited to finish it. It's gonna be so cute. This one is not a super complicated pattern. You start out making like a form for the inside, and then the sheet that goes on top is all worked into one piece. So I don't actually think there's any sewing. It actually looks like maybe you need to sew like the pleats together a little bit to make the creases in the sheet, but there's no like sewing on pieces, so that'll be easy. Okay, and next up is this little pumpkin pie pattern by Twingurumi. I personally have never made anything crochet with such small yarn like you're seeing in this pattern, but it can be so fun to make something super mini like this. It's actually this creator over on Instagram who makes a lot of really tiny amigurumi and then turns them like into earrings. So that's a good idea if you're not into just like having a bunch of stuffed animals or you don't really want to sell them at markets. You could make really fun seasonal earrings for yourself and for your friends just using like really small yarn like that. So that was a really cute one that I wanted to include. You guys could just basically make any pattern into a fall pattern by having the little plushie holding like a pumpkin pie. So that I thought would be a good one to include on this list. Next up on my list of free patterns is this super cute pumpkin bunny by Michaela Crochets. Now this one does require some sewing. It's so cute when you get to the finished project, so I think it's worth it. Personally, I don't like to do patterns with a lot of sewing with certain types of yarn, but with this pattern, since there is a decent amount of sewing involved, I would use something like Bernat Blanket or even the Big Twist Posh that we're gonna look at later today would be great for this pattern. It just holds up better when it comes to sewing. So just a pro tip if you guys are newer to making amigurumi and crochet in general. I just really love how they included a little hat for the bunny that like ties into the pumpkin. I think that really made the pattern so much cuter. I wish I had a market for October. Unfortunately, I just didn't get into any that were before Halloween. I think there are a lot of crocheters in my area, so luckily the markets out here, they tend to not allow more than one of the same vendor or more than two of the same vendor, so I just didn't get in this time. But if I did get into a Halloween market, I would be making tons of these little cute pumpkin bunnies. They're so adorable. And speaking of market-friendly patterns, the next pattern is a little candy corn from Hooked on Candy over on Instagram. This one is super simple. It shouldn't take very long to make at all. This would be a great market-friendly pattern to use for any sort of fall markets coming up. You could just make a bunch of these little candy corns and sell them for a low price since they won't take much to make, and I think kids would love these. You could make these into keychains. It looks like they used maybe even like Bernat Blanket or something like that for this pattern, and it turned out pretty big. But if you wanted to make it more keychain size, you could use like worsted weight yarn, maybe even like Posh yarn would make this smaller, but I'm not sure if it would make it quite small enough to be a keychain. But you could always just play around with the size of yarn that you use for these patterns to make either them bigger or smaller. Next up is a really cool Halloween pattern from Chrissy Spooky Crochet. She has such a unique style to all of her patterns. They are definitely very spooky and not like as cutesy as some of the other patterns, but I wanted to include something unique just in case someone wants a truly like Halloween scary doll. I think Walter the Voodoo Doll is just about as cute as it gets while also being kind of spooky, you know? I love his button eyes, and then the stitches like for his mouth, and the rest of the detailing just kind of gives him that creepy look. I just think he would be a great thing to make this Halloween if you are more into like true Halloween stuff rather than the cute little candy corns and pumpkin bunnies. And definitely check out this pattern maker if you are into those like darker, scarier projects. She has tons of really cool patterns. Next up, we have some basic pumpkins from Churka Toys pattern. I wanted to include a just basic pumpkin pattern in this pattern roundup because like the pumpkin pie, you can turn a lot of patterns into a fall or like seasonal plushie just by adding a pumpkin, and you can sell it for a couple extra dollars. So that could be worth adding to some of your plushies if you have something that's been laying around not selling at one of your booths. Maybe add a cute pumpkin to it and maybe it'll sell this fall. I wanted to include that for you guys. And this particular pattern, it looks like there are a few different options for the stem. You can make them either with a little tendril or without, and then there's also different sizes of the pumpkins. I personally have made little Disney ears with pumpkins as the ears, and they turned out so cute. I made them for all of our friends when we went to Disneyland, and if you guys want a tutorial on how to make those ears, let me know. I have a couple different styles of Disney ears that I know how to crochet and would love to show you guys, so let me know if you're interested. But these pumpkins tend to sell really well at markets just on their own too. I might make a couple since I do have a November market. Pumpkins are still so popular for Thanksgiving. It's not just a Halloween type of thing, so I might make a bunch of those pumpkins to have at my market and just sell for home decor, because I will say it is nice to diversify your booth a little bit. Primarily I've only had plushies, stuffed animals for kids, teenagers, and adults. Plenty of people buy plushies for themselves at my booth, but I think having something that's a little bit more just like home decor might make it so that more people feel like there's something for them at my booth. So just a tip for you guys. This next pattern is so cute. It is this little ghost kitty from Songbird Crochet Art. Anything having to do with cats tends to sell really well in my experience, so I wanted to include a couple patterns that have a little cat or a bunny or something cute in there for you guys. So this little cat pattern is just adorable. It looks like a little cat that is wearing a sheet to make it into a ghost. There is a little bit of felt needed for this pattern. They recommend using felt for the nose. I will say I'm sure you could embroider one. It just might be a little bit easier to get that triangle cute little cat shape with the felt, just since it looks like this cat is quite small. So personally, I have a hard time making very precise embroidery on amigurumi projects. I'm sure there are people that are way better at it than I am. This next pattern is another one involving a cat, but it also has a bear modification. So I am talking about this pattern involving these really cute pumpkins with either a kitty or a bear on it from Eli Yarn Art over on Instagram. I love that with this one there's an option to make the hat either the top of the pumpkin or a really cute witch's hat. Like the pumpkins and the candy corns, these would sell really well at markets, and they don't look like they would take very long. They're such a small item that I think you could get these done in an hour or less, more than likely. There is a little bit of sewing. It looks like you have to sew the cat or the bear onto the pumpkin. You have to sew on the ears and sew on the nose and the hats. So it's definitely not a no-sew pattern, but that's also the thing with these free patterns, is typically making something into no-sew involves a little bit more work, and the pattern creators are going to want to be compensated for that. So the free patterns are typically not going to be no-sew. Some of them might be because they're just very simple designs. Usually if you want no-sew items that are really popular and really cute, they are probably going to be paid patterns. Let me know in the comments if you want a list of just no-sew patterns that I absolutely love. I will say I primarily use no-sew patterns. It just makes it a lot easier when you're selling your plushies if you don't have to worry about the time that it takes to stitch everything together. The next pattern is another one by Eli Yarn Art, and this is just a really cute Jack Skellington. I wanted to include something that was very classic Halloween, just because obviously this just screams Halloween to me. Everyone knows who Jack Skellington is. This is another one that includes the need for some felt, but you guys should be able to find felt easily at Michael's or Joann's, and it's usually like $1 or less for a sheet of felt, and that's all you guys would need for these projects. But I feel like we all know someone who is obsessed with Nightmare Before Christmas and loves Jack Skellington, so this could be a really good gift for that person if you're making them like a boo basket or something like that, or you know, just want to give them something to let them know that you appreciate them and recognize their obsession with Jack Skellington. And the last fall pattern is actually from Yarn Theory, and I thought this would be a really good one to include because it's so practical for Halloween, and it is this pumpkin basket. This actually involves using like a wooden base, but I think you could get away with not using that wooden base, and I actually think that the pattern creator has instructions for if you're using a wooden base and if you're not, but she typically, I guess, uses like a wooden circular base with a bunch of holes in it all around, and then she crochets into that base and then creates the pumpkin basket off of that, just so that it's really stable. But I think with the right yarn and the right hook size, it would be so sturdy and stiff that I think it would be fine on its own. And you could probably get away with adding like a cardboard insert to the bottom or something to give it a little bit more structure, especially if you're just using it on Halloween. You only really need it for like one night. You could replace the cardboard every year if it gets worn out or something, but this would be such a great project if you have kids or nieces or nephews and they're still going trick-or-treating and you want to make them a basket. I think this would be really cute and such an upgrade from like the little Dollar Tree pumpkins that I'm sure you all are familiar with. If you guys make this one, you'll have to let me know how it turned out. Okay, so now we're moving on to the winter Christmassy patterns. I was trying not to make these fully Christmas focused, but it is really hard to find patterns, especially free patterns, that are involving other holidays, but I did find a couple that are not Christmas related. First things first, we have this adorable no-sew meanie greenie from Joanna Amigurumi, and these are just little tiny baby Grinches that I think are so adorable. These also would make perfect keychains, great for market prep. I will say I tend to be really careful with copyright things. I don't know, I just have heard horror stories. I'm afraid of these big companies. I know that they sue people all the time, so that's obviously why this is a free pattern. She's not charging for it, and she's not using the name. This pattern is adorable, and I think if you're just making it for your friends or something, there's no harm in that. So I wanted to include that. I think we all know someone that's kind of obsessed with the Grinch. I have someone in mind for making one of these for, and I think it would also make a really cute Christmas time hanging Grinch for your cart, like the hanging ghost that I showed you guys earlier in the video, but just with these little meanie greenies. And what would a winter pattern roundup be without a penguin pattern? This pattern is by Churka Toys Patterns. Again, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name, but this is a really cute penguin pattern, just very basic. I've seen some patterns where the feet are just bobble stitches, but on this pattern, the arms and the feet are more than just a bobble stitch, so I think that is really cute. I just realized that this pattern looks like it's not written in like US terms. So if you are more experienced, I would say you could still make this work. I personally can tell that like the V's mean single crochet, and the X means increase, maybe? So this is a tough one. But I will find another penguin pattern and I will link it on the Google Doc as well. That is written in US terms. The pumpkin pattern that I recommended by this creator is in American terms, so that's good. But the penguin pattern I guess is not. So I will go ahead and include another one that is in American terms in the Google Doc. And yet another pattern by that same creator is this little Christmas cap. This one is written in American terms, so that's good. But I just think this cute little Christmas hat would be such an adorable addition to basically any plushie in your collection. You can turn it into a Christmas plushie just by adding this hat. It does involve using some fluffy yarn for the pom-pom, and that kind of yarn can be really difficult for beginners to work with. So if you are a beginner, I would probably just buy a pom-pom and attach it to the end of this project if possible. That's just a tip if you're newer with crochet. Don't try to use the fluffy yarn for one of your first projects. It's really difficult to work with. You can't see your stitches at all and you have to go based on feel. But if you are more experienced, I think this fluffy yarn at the end is so cute. And yeah, just such a great way to turn any of your plushies into a Christmas themed plushie. And I also think just these little hats on their own would make such cute ornaments. So that's also an option. So next up we have this Christmas garland by Simply Seema Crochet. This is such a great project if you're not really into plushies or you don't really have any kids to make anything for. This is really good for home decor. I think it would just be really cute to add to, I don't know, your desk even, at work, just to add a little bit of that Christmas holiday spirit. You could change up the colors. You could do it multicolor like you're seeing in the pictures, or you could do red and white, green and red, whatever you feel like. I think you could really play around with this one and get creative with it. And this one looks like it's no-sew. You make all of the bulbs first and then attach them to like the little string as you're crocheting it. So this is a good one if you're newer and don't want to sew. This next pattern is this adorable little reindeer ornament from Double Dutch Crochet Co. I think this is a perfect gift to give people during the holiday season. It won't take too long to make, so you could make a bunch of them and give them out to coworkers or friends. Bring them to an ornament exchange. I love the red nose on this one. I just think it turned out so cute. There is a little bit of sewing with this one. You have to add the white spots on the deer's head. The ears and the nose has to be sewn a little, so not a ton of sewing with this one. I really think I need to make a couple of these this holiday season. I want one on my tree and then I'll have to give some out as gifts. Next up on this list is this adorable little Christmas bear. I thought this would be the perfect gift if you know anyone who is having a baby around Christmas time, but I believe the hat does come off, so it doesn't have to be like only a Christmas bear. It can just wear the hat during the holidays. I love making loveys like this for all of the babies in my life. I make them a lot for my craft fairs. They sell out a ton. They make great gifts, so definitely a good pattern to have on your list, and it's free, so you can't beat that. In the pattern they are using like an acrylic yarn, which I don't personally like to use. They're just not very soft, especially if you're making something for a baby. So I would recommend maybe the baby bear yarn from Joann's would be really cute for this one. They don't really have a red in that line, so you would have to maybe do the hat with acrylic yarn, but it would be better than having like the whole plushie be with acrylic yarn. But I'm also sure that there is acrylic yarn out there that's softer, so you could always use that, and I'm sure this would turn out really cute. Such a great gift idea for anyone that you know that has a little one. Just make sure that if you are gifting it to anyone with like a little kid, babies, toddlers, to make sure you're doing embroidered eyes. When I first started out, I knew nothing about what was a choking hazard with crochet and what wasn't. When I heard the term safety eyes, I figured they were safe for babies. I mean, call me crazy, but it's in the name. So I was shocked when I found out that no, they're actually a choking hazard. Kids can rip them out and eat them. So you want to make sure you are embroidering in the eyes. That's what I do for all of my loveys, since obviously they are intended for children. Got to make sure you are doing those embroidered eyes. If you are gifting it to someone who has an older child who they know is not going to rip out the eyes and they're okay with getting something that has safety eyes, then go right ahead. But I think if you want to be safe, go with embroidered eyes. This next one will be perfect for a like ugly Christmas sweater party, and that is this Christmas vest by Hey Hey Crochet. It's basically just a big old granny square with a Christmas tree motif on the front, and you make it into a vest that you can wear over other things. And I think it would be such a great last minute project if you do have an ugly Christmas sweater party coming up and you don't happen to have one in your closet, or you just want to make something that's crocheted. I think this would be really cute to wear to a market in December. That's one of my goals, is to make things that I can wear to my markets. I think it just looks really cool if the crochet lady is wearing something crocheted to the markets. So that's a goal that I have, but it's a hard one. Okay, my camera just died. Hopefully the angle's not too different. Anyways, I love this vest. I think it would be such a cute project. Even if you don't have an ugly Christmas sweater party coming up, you could make this and wear it to the office at Christmas time. I'm sure you'd get lots of compliments. And since it's a granny square, I don't think it'll take too long to make. And I'm happy to report that the sizing on this pattern goes from extra small to 5XL. This is another pattern that I think would make such a great gift. And it is this chunky Christmas tree skirt by the Unraveled Mitten. I think this would just be such a timeless and classic gift to give to someone for them to use year after year. I think everyone needs a Christmas tree skirt, and this one just has such like a homey feel since it is handmade, but with like the scalloped edges and the bobble stitches, I just think it turned out really cute and would fit a lot of home aesthetics. I'm pretty sure you could find someone on your list that would love this Christmas tree skirt. Wanted to recommend that one to you guys. This next pattern is a little bit of Hanukkah representation, and it's actually a pattern by Yarnspirations. It's a free download. You don't need an account or anything like that to download the pattern. The pattern is for a child's menorah. I'm not really sure what that means. I think it's just small, and obviously it's to play with. It's not functional. But you can take the little candles in and out, and I just think it would be so cute for a kid to play with. You could make it for your child even if you don't celebrate Hanukkah, just to teach your kid what Hanukkah is all about. I remember in school learning all about dreidels and Hanukkah and everything. So I don't know, maybe if you homeschool your kid and you want to teach them about other holidays, you could make them this little menorah for them to play with. And I just was happy that I could find a free pattern that involved a holiday other than Christmas. And that brings me to the final pattern of the video, which is a ribbed beanie pattern. I think this is such a classic make for the winter time. Obviously, everyone needs a beanie to keep themselves warm in the winter. These are great for markets. People love handmade hats, especially if you make them in like a really soft yarn. I've seen a lot of people make beanies out of Bernat velvet. I personally made a lot of like twisted headbands last year with Bernat velvet, and those just turned out so soft and so luxurious. Definitely play around with the yarns and the hook size in order to change it up. This pattern does call for a bulky weight, like wool yarn, but I'm pretty sure you could use just about any bulky weight yarn. And it also calls for a 5.5mm crochet hook, but you know, it also has all of that gauge information down below on the pattern, so you can play around with it until you obtain gauge, because I'm sure we are all making our gauge swatches every single time and checking that gauge. definitely not winging it at all. This pattern comes with 3 sizes of beanies. It doesn't include like a baby beanie or anything, but it does have 3 sizes for adults. It has a teen / small adult size, a medium, and a large. So there will be something for everyone on your Christmas list in these patterns somewhere, but this beanie is probably the most versatile. Just about anyone would probably love a beanie. All right, so that is it for our 20 free fall and winter patterns. I hope you guys loved all of these patterns. I had so much fun searching for them. So let me know if you want more videos like this in the future, but it is time now for us to go to Joann's and see if they have the new colors of the Big Twist Posh yarn. I'm so excited about that. I absolutely love that yarn. It's the yarn that I use to try to teach TJ how to crochet. It's just such an easy one to work with. So I'm really hoping that they have the new colors. I did sneak a peek online. I kind of wanted to be surprised and see if they had it, but I also don't want to drive across town if they don't. But it looks like they do have some of the new colors. So I'm really excited to show you guys. Stick around for that part of the video, but if you don't want to watch that part, thank you so much for watching this far. All right, we made it to Joann's. Now let's go in and see if they have all that new yarn. I'm so excited. Well, I'm very disappointed. I checked online and it said that they had it, but I looked here and they don't. They only have the old colors of Posh. It said that they had like 14 of each skein of the new colors here. So I'm gonna keep looking around, but it doesn't look like they have it. Maybe they're gonna put it out like tomorrow. I don't know, but I'm sad. Boy, do I wish the new Big Twist Posh was in this bag, but it's not, because I don't know what my Joann's deal is. They don't have it out yet. They have some of the old colors out, like you guys saw in the video, and I did grab one skein. This is the purple. Yeah, that's the only Big Twist Posh that I got. It said online that they had 14 skeins of the new colors, so they probably just haven't put them out yet, but I figured I would show you guys at least what I got from Joann so that the ending of this video isn't so completely lame. But I spent $43.89 and I saved $22.60 from like full price. All of the yarn was on sale. The Bernat blanket was the most expensive. It's usually $12.99. It's on sale right now for $9.99. Hi, hi. Bless you. Hello.
Have fun.
Okay, thanks. So the Bernat blanket was $12.99 usually, on sale for $9.99. I got it for $8.49 because I also get a healthcare workers discount through Joann's. It's 15% off like all the time, even when the yarn's already on sale, which is really nice. So I saved $7.10 because of that discount. Very thrilled. I love that Joann's does that. Michael's, to my knowledge, does not. So I got, let me just take them all out. The lady at Joann's shoved them all in this bag so efficiently, but oh, I lost a label. Got it back on. So yeah, I got this orange terracotta color, I think it's what's called. Yeah, terracotta. And this is my favorite for box snugglers. And I do have one that I need to make. I'm shipping off a box of plushies to my old coworkers in South Carolina. It's gonna be filled of a lot of those little hanging ghosts. But one of my old coworkers, I wish they were my current coworkers, they want a fox snuggler for like a relative that's having a baby. She's bought a lot of my snugglers before, so I'm gonna get one of those shipped out to her. I got this Juicy Couture yarn. I've never used this before. I know a lot of people like it. It's similar to velvet. I spent $6.37 on this skein. This is gonna be the swing for one of the ghosts. One of my friends wants one with like a mustard swing, so I'm gonna make that for her. This is the Big Twist Posh that you guys saw, the purple color. I just have never used this color before and I don't have it in my collection, so I figured I would grab it. Posh, they had it 25% off. It was $9.99 usually, and I got it for $6.37, but that is including the healthcare workers discount too. Good price on that. And then the last 3 things that I got are all Big Twist Baby Bear. I got the white. This is like the antique white. It's not the bright white that they have. I like this color for the ghosts. And then I got purple and this light blue. I have the like purpley blue that they have, but I don't have the pure blue and the purple. One of my coworkers wants Cinderella Disney ears, and I'm gonna make it out of this color and this color. So overall, not a total fail, but kind of a fail when it comes to Posh. I apologize, but what can you do? I just work here. So hopefully it was at least a little fun to see like a little haul at the end. But yeah, sometimes the apps lie. I mean, I could have done like an online order and then gone in and picked it up. I probably should have done that because they probably have it like in the back and they could put together orders if they wanted to, but I didn't do that. So maybe I'll get my hands on the Posh yarn another time and I'll show you guys. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you loved it. I hope you got a lot of free pattern inspiration. Let me know if you make anything from the list of patterns that I gave you guys. And let me know if you have any specific crochet videos that you'd like to see. I really do want to make a series teaching you guys how to crochet. So let me know if you're interested, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.